Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. You may not know this, but I am black, quote-unquote African American, although I won't get into that. Please click the thumbs up or thumbs down. It doesn't matter what you do, just do it. It doesn't mean that you like me, it doesn't mean that you hate me, just do it. Please donate to the channel. YouTube is doing all sorts of weird shenanigans. Yesterday I had 2 hours of 500 views per hour, and when I checked, there was no video that had 1,000 views. So I don't know what's going on. And when I look, I'm actually down money for the month. Down, all the way down. So I don't know what YouTube is doing. And apparently, YouTube wants to know if I'm black. Yes, YouTube, I'm black. All right, where are my views? I'm black. Where are my views? Come on. Today I want to talk about reparations because apparently that's the thing to talk about. Here's the problem. When you public people, you the peasantry, talk about reparations, you have been marched down a hallway, sectioned off, corded off in a pinch maneuver where you have to squeeze through one corridor, and then you can talk about reparations. What am I talking about? When you talk about reparations for black people, you can only talk about yes, no, in terms of getting reparations from taxpayers. I'm not going to call you stupid. I'm going to call you that you have been maneuvered into this conversation, into this narrative. Justice is never served, at least in civil court, by somebody else paying for the injustice of someone else. It just doesn't work like that. So the left has couched reparations into a no-win situation where you are told the only way to have reparations is by the taxpayers paying black people. I'm going to make a controversial statement. Pull up your big boy panties and your big girl panties. Pull up your big boy britches and your big girl panties, okay? Reparations. A bill was put forth for reparations immediately from the times for the Emancipation Declaration. And it has been on the House floor every session of the House. Every session? Yes, every session. What does that bill say? Who should pay for the reparations? Who should pay for the reparations, and this is why Shakaama agrees, are the people who benefited from the reparations. This is where the whole woke people stealing black vernacular, black culture, assuming black culture and they don't know what they're talking about, adapting black words that black people say to each other. This is where this all gets convoluted and completely mixed up and completely confused. Reparations should come from the plantation owners. You said there are no plantation owners. Their family is still benefiting from slavery. What? What do you mean? That's impossible. No, it's not impossible. I don't think you understand just how rich people came off of slavery. A person with one slave was equal to an entire factory in the North. Let me repeat that. The dynamics of a farmer with a slave had the same economic power, financial capability of an entire factory of hundreds of white men working in a factory and the owner of the factory. So one black slave versus hundreds of white guys. Are you beginning to see why the white people hated black people? Hated, completely hated. And let me give you some other information. The people that worked on the plantation, the white people that worked on the plantation, hated the slaves also. Why? Because the slaves were doing their job. Who are they? They are the Irish and the Scottish, and later on Italian, but mostly Irish and Scottish. The Irish and Scottish came here because of famine in their own country, and they came here seeking to ply their skills to the New World. But when they arrived, the only place that actually did farming was the South. They go to the South, it's filled with slaves, black slaves. And they could identify the black slave. And they said, how are these people doing our job? What are we going to do? And the answer was nothing. Unless you got hired on as a farmhand of some sort, for the most part, you were going to be a poor Scottish, poor Irish person, period. And when I say poor, we're talking about poor in the 1700s and the 1800s. Really poor. Poor today, sit in government housing with TV and air conditioning. It's not really poor. My mother grew up poor in the backwoods of Louisiana. She can't understand my lifestyle, and I can't understand her lifestyle. But that's a side note. Here's the deal, and here's the controversial statement. Just like the Nazis were actually famous for one thing, and it also was with the Italian under Mussolini. They're famous for one thing: keeping records, keeping meticulous records. The slave trade has meticulous records. Also, the slave trade kept meticulous records of genealogy, where the slave came from, what children he and she had, and where they went. They tracked all of that. And they tracked who purchased the slave, how much they paid for the slave. And I guess they would also keep track of how much that person made. That would be something of importance, would it not? This slave made this much money for this person. They have meticulous records. These are trillions of dollars that are floating around Wall Street. Do you know Wall Street was the center of the slave trade? Wall Street. Meticulous record. So when Shakaama says he is in favor of reparations, I'm in favor of reparations from the actual families who are ridiculously wealthy today. Their wealth should be gutted and handed out to the descendants of those slaves, not taxpayers, although taxpayers are in fact giving reparations to the daughters of the Confederacy today and the descendants of Confederate soldiers who died in the Civil War. Did you know that? They are getting reparations for giving up their slave. You taxpayers are paying those families for having to have given up their property. That goes on today. So either way you slice it, taxpayer versus the actual families, it's all equivalent. Why? Because they're doing it the other way. They gave reparations to the Japanese. They gave reparations to the Jews. We have absolutely nothing to do with the Jews from World War II. Why did the Jews get reparations? I still don't have an answer to that question. That doesn't make any sense. And we're not getting compensated by the Germans because the situation of the Jews is hoisted upon the Jews by the Germans. Why is the United States paying Jewish people reparations? That makes 0 sense. But, and here's the but, this is the point of contention about giving reparations to black people. So you can give reparations to former slave owners, and you're paying for it, you taxpayers, all of you people. You can give reparations to Jews, which has nothing to do with the United States. You can give reparations to the Japanese and the Chinese and the Filipino. You can give reparations to Guam. Why reparations to Guam? I have no idea. You can give reparations to the Filipinos. No idea. No idea why that is. You can give reparations to Mexico because of the assumption of California as part of the United States. That deal was made, and it was a deal. Give up this land and we give you this. So why are you giving reparations to Mexico because of that deal? But all of that, and the point of contention is that people don't want to give reparations to black people. Here's the thing. I said they keep meticulous records. They know exactly who deserves the reparations. It's not every black person. My family had no slavery in it. So I'm talking academically here. I wouldn't benefit from reparations no matter how you sliced it, because it wouldn't come to me. Of course it wouldn't come to me. Why would that happen? I'm destined to be poor. I'm destined to never benefit from affirmative action. Nothing black ever benefits me. Anything that benefits quote unquote black people does not benefit Shakaama. Ever. Never has. I've never gotten a handout. Nothing. Ever. Am I mad? Yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad. Why not? I should be mad. I pay my taxes, and I pay more taxes than most people because I was making a lot of money at one point in my life. A lot of money. And I paid a lot of taxes. So Bernie Sanders, you can go screw yourself with the rich don't pay their fair share. And Biden, you can go screw yourself with the rich don't pay their fair share. The rich pay 99% of the taxes. I want you to just sit back for a second and think about this. A person who makes $20,000 a year pays how much in taxes? I don't care if it's the worst of the worst. I think it's at most something like 10%. Remember, it's a graduated tax code. So you make so much, I think it's something like 15,000 and it's like 5%. And then the next 10,000 is something like 20%. Something like that. So they paid 20% on something like $5,000. Versus, I used to be in Amway, and the guy above me paid $1 million in taxes every year. He paid $1 million in taxes every year. That was his taxes. And it wasn't even income taxes. It was capital gains and all that sort of stuff. $1 million. So the little 20% of $5,000 is not putting roads together on the street, right? They're not putting asphalt on the street. It's the guy paying $1 million in taxes. And it's a lot of guys paying $1 million in taxes. That's who's keeping Washington afloat. Not the people making anywhere from $0 to $300,000. Even if you make $300,000, you're still not paying that much in taxes. It is a graduated tax system. So that something like up to $20,000 is 10%. And then the next 100,000 is 25%. And then the next 100,000 is 30%. So you aren't paying that much because it's only a certain portion where it's a lot of money, but it only covers that portion. Versus the guy who makes millions of dollars a year, he blew the roof off of all of that stuff. So he has to pay $1 million in taxes. Elon Musk took an actual payday and he became the number one person in the history of the United States to pay taxes. The richest guy on the planet did taxes one year and he paid out the most taxes anyone has ever paid in history of the United States. Did he pay his fair share? He overpaid his. Not only did he overpay his fair share, he didn't even give himself the deductions that he was entitled to. Why? Because normally he doesn't pay taxes. Why does he not pay taxes? Because he doesn't get a salary. Why doesn't he get a salary? Because he only gets stock options every year. He has no income whatsoever. And in fact, he takes out loans to live day to day. So, in essence, he is in the negative. He has a negative income because loans cost interest. This is all meticulous records. Shakaama is for reparation directly from the families who have trillions of dollars. We call Elon Musk the richest man in the world. That's because we don't consider the elite people in these secret organizations. And I can assure you those Southerners who used to own slaves are part of that elite organization. They have meticulous records. They know exactly who owes what. If you are going to talk about reparations, I don't want you to get upset from now on. I want you to say, well, according to Shakaama, they have meticulous records of who actually bought the slaves, how much they benefited from them, and they have trillions of dollars, billions, millions that turned it into billions that then turned into trillions of dollars today in 2023 that is still floating around Wall Street because they don't have it under their mattress in the plantation. It's on Wall Street. And what else is on Wall Street? Meticulous records. Those are the people who need to pay reparations, not you taxpayers. But if push came to shove, should taxpayers pay? Yes, sure, fine. Let's do taxpayers because the taxpayers are also paying the daughters of the Confederacy. Still, today, reparations to the families that owned slaves is being paid today. Thank you for watching.